Hello. It's been a bit since the last video. I think I needed a bit of time to recover from that thing. Wow. It's self-destructive. I wanted to talk a little bit about Lucky Film because Lucky Film is back. But actually, well, you'd be forgiven if you didn't know that Lucky Film had gone away, or what Lucky is. After over a decade, Lucky Film is back with a brand new color film. Lucky Film is a Chinese film manufacturer, originally founded in the 1950s. In the early 2000s, Kodak signed a 20-year agreement with Lucky to contribute $45 million towards providing machines and upgrades to their film manufacturing facilities. Except Kodak withdrew from that agreement in 2007, and by 2012, Lucky had stopped producing color film completely. And also in 2012, Kodak was having a rather bad year as well. So not great all around. Well, Lucky has slowly made a comeback with a few black and white films over the years. At the moment, I believe you can get SHD 100 and SHD 400 from them. And now they have released a completely new color film stock, which they put out last year. So this is Lucky 200, a 200 ISO color negative film, which I shot here in 35mm, but is available in both 35 and medium format. I shot 2 rolls of this, one of which was supplied to me for this video along with processing and scanning by Downtown Camera here in Toronto. Lucky 200 is a pretty standard looking color negative film in my opinion. It's not quite as warm as the Kodak stuff tends to lean towards, but as like a decent color film to grab and put in, especially like a point and shoot camera, I think most people are gonna be pretty happy with this. The most noticeable characteristic for the Lucky stuff is that it has quite a bit of a magenta cast at times, especially here in lighter skin tones. Besides that magenta cast though, I found that the shadows tend to get really green most of the time. If you bump up the exposure on the Lucky stuff though, and maybe shoot this as like a 100 ISO, then it helps to get some more even shadows with less of that color cast. I found some of the green just really disappears with a bit more light. A few months ago, I looked at the new Kodacolor film that Kodak put out, which is also like a pretty standard consumer grade color negative film, and Lucky 200 seems to fall into the same category in my mind here, which is film that people will easily be drawn to picking up because it's going to just be shot for fun. They're looking for something that is relatively cheap, which is totally fine because the Lucky stuff is, or at least it should be, available for cheap, or at least cheap in terms of what the film community sees as being cheap these days. And yes, I know there are people who are like bulk rolling cinema color stuff if you can still get your hands on it, and that becomes even cheaper than this, but for like an off-the-shelf film stock, this is pretty cheap. Like it's much cheaper than Portra and Cinestill, which I guess is the comparison to make these days. A general person will likely be avoiding those films because those prices just kind of keep going up, and they're going to be looking more towards stuff like Lucky. I know I'm a few months late to this, but there has of course been a Kodak price increase since the beginning of the year, which usually happens, but this one in some areas is pretty brutal. So the Elara stuff and the Kodak stuff have both gone up. I know that the price of silver is quite high as well, and silver is pretty integral to the production of film. And there is also a pretty brutal price hike on all the motion picture stuff. So if you're getting a little tired of that from Kodak, then Lucky Film might just be the film for you. Year after year, it is a rough time to be into film, but it is nice to be able to look to other film manufacturers that exist outside of Kodak if you just want to shoot and explore some color film options. So Lucky, Ilford does the Phoenix stuff, Orwo's NC400, 500 stuff. There are other options out there. They are not quite the same quality and consistency wise as the Kodak stuff that people might be used to and enjoy more, but it is very nice to have a variety of options. And people are still getting into film photography. My very good friend Henry, in the beginning of 2026, decided to buy a Pentax K1000 for the first time and absolutely loves it. And so, you know, I love to hand him little rolls of random stuff that he's not really aware of, to kind of deter him from wanting to shoot Cinestill all the time, which I get, and God bless him. But it's great that there are other options out there so that you can go a little bit beyond that all the time. Thank you so much for checking this out. Thank you to Downtown Camera for supplying this roll and the processing and scanning that you saw on all of these rolls in the video. You can find information down in the description below for Downtown Camera here in Toronto, and the selection of film stocks, especially that they carry, and chemistry that they carry locally is like second to none. They're a very, very valuable resource for a lot of people doing this kind of stuff. You can also find ways to support the channel down in the description below. So thank you so much, and I promise I will see you again soon.